Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the stripping is done, I'll take my leave and go. Ahoy, mateys! Welcome to Rogue Mother Rising. Today is February 1st, 2026, 3:03 a.m. pirate time. So I got to thinking about when I was reading my guardianship letter yesterday, and the phrase in there, unreasonable harm. So I have another script I had ChatGPT help me write out, and I see on my screen here that I only have 2 messages remaining for this script. I've been doing them all on this same line, so I might have to start a trial. I can try it for free, but I have 2 more messages remaining, so I'm going to get my screen recorder going. Okay, so let's get started. Welcome to my ship. Join my crew. I'm calling my ship the Special Needs Safety Ship. And I got a new flag up there. In the background of the ocean is my video from our trip to Crescent City, California. So let's get started. People keep throwing around the words rights, choice, and adult decisions when it comes to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. But there's one phrase in law that almost nobody wants to talk about, and that phrase is unreasonable harm. It's right there in the guardianship law. Not hidden, not vague, and it's not optional. What is unreasonable harm, and who decides when harm becomes unreasonable? That's the question I asked. Because if we don't answer that honestly, then all the talk about rights is just paperwork, pretending to be protection. Unreasonable harm does not mean any risk at all. Life has risks. Crossing the street has risks. Going to a store has risks. Making friends has risks. The law does not require guardians or providers to eliminate all risk. What the law is talking about is something very specific, foreseeable harm that a person cannot reasonably understand, avoid, escape, or report. That's the key. Unreasonable harm isn't judged after something bad happens, it's judged before. By asking, can this person understand what's happening here? Can they say no in a meaningful way? Can they leave if they feel unsafe? Can they report harm if it happens? If the answer to those questions is no, then the harm doesn't need to occur to be unreasonable. The risk itself is unreasonable. That's not emotional, that's legal. Let's be very clear about the differences, because this is where the system's failing, and in a big way. Reasonable risk looks like this. The person understands the situation, they know what consent means, they can withdraw consent, they can communicate harm, they can access help. Unreasonable harm looks like this. The environment is inherently exploitive or sexualized. Power is uneven. Supervision replaces protection. The person's yes is treated as consent even when comprehension is limited. Reporting harm afterward is unlikely or impossible. And enjoyment does not cancel vulnerability. Here's the uncomfortable truth. DSPs are not trained to evaluate capacity plus environment. They're trained to document choice. If the paperwork says preferred activity, the thinking stops there. But the law doesn't say document choice and move on. It says prevent unreasonable harm. That requires judgment. That requires critical thinking. That requires saying, even if someone wants this, is it safe for them? And DSPs are not trained or supported to ask that question. In fact, they're often discouraged from asking it. And yeah, they don't even think about asking it. They're not thinking about anybody's safety. They're thinking about their paycheck, their gold coin in their pocket. So why does the system default to they're an adult? It's their right. Because that language protects institutions, not people. The state limits liability, providers avoid responsibility, oversight agencies don't have to intervene, no one has to define capacity, no one has to change training, no one has to spend more money. Rights language becomes a liability strategy. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Calling someone an adult does not magically give them the ability to consent, protect themselves, or recover from harm. When rights are used without safeguards, they don't empower, they expose. The law does not tell guardians to stand back and hope for the best. Yeah, I understand that, but what about the clients that actually can't talk?
So the clients that are nonverbal, I would hope that the DSPs are listening to their nonverbal communication. I've seen it where some people will refuse to get out of the car or be hitting and kicking and not cooperative of going into places, or they will sometimes have their own unique form of sign language if they don't.
It says guardians are responsible for safety, well-being, protection from unreasonable harm. That means acting before something goes wrong, not waiting for trauma, not waiting for proof, not waiting for a police report. If a guardian sees a situation where sexual exploitation is foreseeable, reporting harm would be unlikely, and they cannot consent, and consent cannot be meaningful given guardianship, then intervening is not control. It's required guardianship. Failing to act can be neglect. We don't need fewer protections for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We need better definitions, better training, and real accountability. DSPs need training on capacity, not just choice, environment, not just preference, protection, not just supervision. Because unreasonable harm isn't abstract, it's real, it's preventable, and once it happens, it can't be undone. If we truly believe in dignity, then we have to stop pretending exposure equals freedom. Protection is not oppression, and prevention is not control. It's care. So that's the end of our script. And so, yeah. What more is there to say? It says right in my guardianship papers, protect from unreasonable harm. And I feel that taking intellectually, developmentally disabled adults out strip clubbing every month with their paid providers, it's not safe, and I don't think it's legal. They all keep telling me it's fine, and I need to look up laws, so that's what I'm doing. So stay tuned for the next law. I don't know what it'll be, but there'll be one, like I said in my other video. We may not know what we're doing on this ship exactly, but we're going to get it done. Thanks for coming to my video. I'll see you on the next voyage. Ahoy! Hoist the sails!